My name is Daniel, and today I want to be talking about one of my favorite figures in my collection, my favorite Iron Man figure, um, the Marvel Select Silver Centurion. Now, I think I got this guy for my 18th birthday. He was part of one of the presents I got a little over a year ago now, and I was just blown away. I thought he looked good, but when I had him out of the box, he looked even better. I will say that I'm very particular about my Iron Man figures. I think the Iron Man should be metallic first and foremost, most of the time at least. I think it's where a lot of Iron Man figures kind of fumble the bag a little bit as they try to give him this McDonald's red and yellow. If you look at the original comic art, they had very limited printing technology, but the way that you shaded, if you wanted to shade something in black and white to be metallic, you would do it like how they shaded Iron Man. They would literally draw shines. They would always refer to him as, I think, a shiny, in the comic at least. So it's just very odd that a lot of figures seem so adamant that they won't want to make him shiny. And this figure is, in my opinion, the perfect Silver Centurion Iron Man. Silver Centurion Iron Man is my favorite Iron Man armor by a long shot. I think the silver just contrasts really well with the nice scarlet cherry red. It feels like a very natural evolution of his classic armor. I have my opinions on modern Iron Man armors. I think they kind of lean way too much into mechanics, and they kind of lose a lot of the design iconography that I think is very important to superhero costumes. The color patterns are always left out. And sometimes they just feel homogenous, like it's just a bunch of red and yellow, and I don't really care. And sometimes I'm just scared to have any yellow on there, and that's annoying. My Iron Man, it's just all red, but Silver Centurion, in my opinion, is a perfect Iron Man design. There's nothing about it I dislike. There's nothing about it I'd want to change. Something I love most about this figure is its head sculpt. So if we bring it up here, the head sculpt is incredible. I love especially how they did the brow. You'll notice on a lot of Marvel Legends figures, especially, the brow will be very strangely handled. It'll just look like two rectangles that kind of got squished above his eyes. But on this figure, they furrow to create the eyes, but they also transition nicely back into the forehead and the rest of the face of the mask. This does a fantastic job of communicating the balance that Iron Man helmets have to achieve between being, a face and being kind of mechanic and very inhuman. Classic Iron Man was great at that. I think modern Iron Man kind of fumbles in some areas. I know that the all new, all different armor is just like a flat, plate with two slits, which, has its moments, but not my preferred look for the man. Moving across the body, he has this great, big body type. I don't really love, once again, getting the all new, all different Iron Man. They drew him so skinny there, and I think a lot of modern Iron Man interpretations kind of make him pretty skinny, and I'm not a big fan of it personally. He's not as big as Captain America in my mind, but he's not small. He's bigger than Spider-Man, definitely, by a good margin. Marvel Select, whenever they have buff guys, they have the rack for the males, and I always think is funny. He has these large shoulder pads, which you think would get in the way of articulation, but they actually had a really nice system where the shoulder pads actually swivel with the shoulder, and so it really doesn't get in the way. It's a softer plastic too, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about it breaking. Now this does bring us to a problem that Marvel Select has kind of as a whole, and that's paint chipping. You'll notice if you look on here, if I just scroll it, yeah, you might be able to see it. There's a little bit of paint chipping that happens sometimes around these areas. It's not major, personally. It never bothers me too much, but you will begin to notice. And if you're in Australia, which I guess Australia just gets bad shipments because all I hear from Australia is about the horrific paint chipping they experience for this figure. Yeah, sometimes it can get really bad. Just be careful with them. Don't be too rough. Be gentle. Don't push. Don't rub everything together too hard, and I think you'll be fine because it would be such a shame if this fantastic red paint was tarnished in any way because, a little rough with it. In terms of articulation, he has a pretty good range at a ball joint at the head. He looks maybe not as up as I would like him to. I wish he could look farther up. Using the diaphragm, you can get him pretty far up, but it's not my favorite still. I wish there was a joint at the bottom of the neck like they would go on to do for their Captain America. And I really hope they do that later going forward in the line, because that's a really... That Captain America maybe has some of the best head articulation I've seen in a while. The arms can go all the way out. He has a single joint at the elbow. Goes about 90 degrees, about as far as... Well, as far as I think it could. Diaphragm, you get some okay go down. I mean, not really. It's pretty subtle. And some pretty good lean back. It's a pretty weak joint. Marvel Select's specialty was never the diaphragms. He has a swivel at the waist. Can go all the way around. He can kick out about... I'm going to say like 45 degrees. And he can just do a full splits, so that's nice. Hip swivel. He has a single jointed leg that only really goes out about this much, I think. At least for me. Marvel Select figures are always a little bit tight out of the box, and they need to be kind of warmed up and broken into, so maybe I'm just not pushing it, but I don't want to push this figure too hard. For the feet, he can about kick up that much, kick down about that much, and I can't really, I mean, he rotates too, but when it comes to the rocker, it doesn't happen much on this foot for me, but for this foot, I can get, I mean, yeah, like I can get some good rocking action on this foot. So, just beware. Maybe don't be afraid to hit it with a, blow dryer every now and then, some hot water. Get everything going in motion. Moving into his accessories, this Iron Man comes with a lot. Remember that Marvel Select figures usually retail about $30. And for $30, this is utterly an astonishing figure. One of their best releases, in my opinion. He has these little, kind of grippy hands. These are good for just kind of some normal poses. You can get some good action going on there. It is just nice. You have these open, kind of about to blast hands. You have fire for under his feet when he's flying. You have both a set of open hand blasting effects, but then my favorite, the fist blasting effects. And I love that. I really appreciate when Iron Man does that again, Nowadays, we only see him blasting with an open hand, which makes sense, That's what he does most of the time, but I just appreciate loving seeing him do a fist blast. And I know that Silver Centurion did that a lot, which is, real nice. And then you have a chest blasting piece, which, in the system for this, is that you can actually take out this piece and then interchange it with this and get some good poses there, which is such a fantastic system and idea that it makes me want to criticize future Iron Man releases for not copying it, because it's just such a great idea. He has this backpack. These are supposed to be able to swivel out, but I can, barely... Oh, hold on. First time in history. I've never gotten it to actually swivel out. And I just don't know how it's supposed to work. I've, seen people do it, and I try to do it, and, it just doesn't. So, backpack. This could be useless for you. This could be fun. Tell me how that goes for you. We have this stand. This stand is pretty much useless. It's not going to hold him. Hasn't held him for me, at least. But then you have these fantastic head sculpts. First you have this Tony Stark head. And just look at all the detail on him. Painted Marvel Select makes, in my opinion, some of the best head sculpts for Marvel figures. This is just spot on. Especially how he looked at the time. I would love to see Marvel Select do more Iron Man. More of the head sculpt reflects how the artist would draw him in that particular run, because this is just astonishing. My favorite. I love the subtle shading under his eyes. It makes him seem a little tired. The mustache is a really nice touch. He has the mullet, by the way. That hinders articulation on this head bit, but I'm honestly cool with that. But yeah, just a fantastic head. And then you also have this kind of open visor scanner head. It's Alright, I mean, this is a specific reference, and it's cool and all. I wish we had hands to kind of like put fingers inside of his head. I know he didn't really do that in the comic, he just opened it and like looked at whatever he wanted to look at, but I mean, I don't know. It would have been nice. I don't think a figure. In my opinion, figures they do have a beholden to accuracy, because I want the figure of the guy. If it doesn't look like the guy, then what's the point? But if they didn't specifically do something, but it just kind of would make sense in posing to do for them to do it. Like even if he didn't do this, having a hand so he could do this if I want him to, I think that would have been for the better. But yeah, I think his head's a little bit kind of useless. I would have preferred maybe an open, faceplate head or maybe a battle damaged head, but this is nice. I mean, you can get some work out of this. For some comparisons, here we have him next to your SH Figuarts Final Swing Spider-Man, your Revoltech Spider-Man, and your Revoltech Iron Spider. I think these all work pretty well. I know that, he didn't really wear Silver Centurion in Civil War, but I think the Iron Spider still looks nice next to it. There's obviously a scale difference. Marvel Select is a 7-inch line, so it makes sense that, he's going to be taller. But for Spider-Man, I think that works, especially if you're going for like a kind of a teen Spidey look. I especially like how Final Swing looks next to him. I think this is a really good pairing, shorter kid with him. You can get the Revoltech to work. Revoltech's one of those figures where you look at it and you think, oh, this doesn't pair with anything. And then you put it next to other figures and it just pairs weirdly well. And then Iron Spider kind of follows that same principle. They're all going to work well. The only Spider-Man in my collection I think wouldn't work with this figure is probably my Toy Biz Snapshot, because it's just such a radically different style, frankly. For some larger Marvel villains, here we have him next to the Revoltech Age of Ultron in the Toy Biz Doctor Doom. I think he prepares okay with the Doctor Doom. I picture Doctor Doom being about the same height as Iron Man, so this is a little odd for him being this short. Just by virtue of being an MCU figure, I don't think this would totally fit. I guess you could make it work, I guess, with certain framings, but yeah, I mean, I do love this figure. I think it is the best Ultron. It's definitely the front runner Ultron in my collection just because of how utterly fantastic it is. But yeah, it probably won't pair so well with your classic figures. I guess that's not something you need me to tell you, but maybe the Mezco Doctor Doom would probably pair better, since Mezco figures clocking at a little bit taller. I think you could probably close the gap with scale, and that's just a better figure to begin with, so, there that is. Moving on to some of your other Iron Men, here we have the Sentinel Armorized Iron Man metallic version in the Marvel Legends 80th Anniversary Model 1 Iron Man. And I think this will fit very nicely in your armory displays. This guy especially really works well as a Pentagon armor. By the way, the Revoltech Iron Spider fits very great with this one. This is a great comparison for that. These two are my favorite Iron Man figures, frankly. I love the metallic shine. This is like perfect Iron Man colors to me. I wish every figure could look this beautiful, but this is an expensive figure, all the die cast and stuff. I pick it up and it feels cold, and I'm like, oh my god. This is what Eve ate in the garden. This is original sin. How perfect that is. And then the Marvel Legends Model 1, a really great figure. I really enjoy it. This is like, Hasbro, you made this? Oh my god. If only they could put that much effort into all their other releases, but this is a really nice comparison. These fit pretty much perfectly next to each other, especially with their head sculpts. Both of them really nail their respective looks, and I definitely think that they're good for each other. And then for some TMNT comparisons, here we have it next to a Super 7 Turtle, here represented by Leonardo. Here we have it next to a 2008 NECA Mirage Donatello, and then the 1988 Playmates Raphael, to kind of get a scale for what, you might like. I do think that the 6-inch turtles, I'm just going to use this as like a general, your 6-inch turtle, I think they'll fit nicely with this. This is about a pretty much perfect scaling, I imagine. But your 7-inch Super 7 will also work wonderfully. Super 7 are my main turtles, so I guess those are probably the ones I just use because I love these designs so much. Your Playmates turtles are a little too short, a bit out of scale. Um, but this would probably be a great scale if you have like 7, 8, 9 inch Transformer figures. These guys would come in handy for that. But yeah, this is a really nice pairing here. I don't know why. I always had an affinity for the idea of the TMNT crossing over with Iron Man specifically. And then, just for fun, here we have it next to your 9 to 5 Warriors Major Eraser and your Skeleton Warriors Oracula. This is gonna be kind of fun. I mean, I know when anytime you introduce 9 to 5 Warriors into things, this just scales automatically because this is like 1-to-1 scale, and toys is this could just be like a toy come to life in that photo. So I don't know, could be fun. I think having a Buzz Lightyear crossover with Iron Man situation could be cute for some photos. So, in the end, I absolutely recommend this figure. It is, in my opinion, the best Silver Centurion Iron Man you can get in the market. It is one of the best Iron Men on the market. It has pretty good posability. Even though I went over the articulation, I don't think I talked about it much. You can get some good poses out of this guy still, even if the articulation seems limited. Especially if you're like a TMNT or Transformers collector and you're used to like less than super high articulated figures. Us Marvel collectors are a little bit spoiled when it comes to articulation, frankly. But, you can make things happen. You can make a lot of really great things happen. So don't be scared off. You can be creative with it. But it's such a fantastic figure. I absolutely recommend it. I think it's still up on Diamond Select's website. You can get it, honestly, for retail price on eBay if you want to avoid, buying, Disney, Marvel products officially like me. But, I really recommend get out this guy. He's great for an Avengers display. I use him in my Avengers display. He's great for an Iron Man Armory display. If you're an Iron Man fan, he's a must-have. But, yeah. I was Daniel, and, well, I am Daniel. I'm still Daniel. I didn't shed my identity over the course of this video. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a good day.